All right, guys, what's up? So if it is that you want to learn exactly how to market your business in a unique way, this new method is called permission-based marketing that basically allows you to sell like 10 times more than what you're selling right now. You don't have to change your product. You don't have to change your prices whatsoever. It's just a unique approach that is completely different from anything that you've been seeing in the market. Now, here's the thing. I have a very special friend of mine, and he's going to walk you guys through the step-by-step process on how to do this, right? So I want you guys to watch this training to the very end, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right? Remember to like and subscribe, by the way. Here we go. All right, so what we're going to discuss today, guys, as you can see on my screen, hopefully everyone is seeing my screen, we're going to talk about why traditional selling is failing you and the unconventional marketing strategy that basically makes buyers practically beg you to take their money, right? And this concept is called permission-based marketing. And I have a special guest with me today. His name is Godson. The thing is, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because every time I do, my tongue gets twisted and all this stuff. But let me try. Godson Okorodudu. Is that right? Is that right, Godson? No? Muted.
I said, I think that's good enough.
That's good enough. All right, coolio. All right, so here's a cool thing about Godson for the folks who don't know. Now, Godson have been impacting businesses on a global scale, right? And another cool thing is that he's been featured on national TVs and business conferences, and he's also known for simplifying his like complex digital marketing concept into actionable strategies. But the thing that caught my attention, and probably most of you guys in the marketing space, is the fact that he's a creator of this groundbreaking technique like reverse reality advertising. And the cool one that I'm familiar with is the meta ad creative hack, which is used by marketers in over 85 countries, right? So for example, if you would have seen these advertisements, right, these ad creatives on Facebook, these very simplistic advertisements, they're driving traffic to a very simple landing page. And these traffic, right, the traffic that he's driving, they're basically, he's targeting cold audience, right, for an offer that's basically $97. Most advertisers, we tend to try to take the approach where we go for the quote unquote low ticket. For me, I think that $97 is the start of a mid-ticket offer. And he's doing it profitably. He's been running this for quite some time. He knows his stuff. He's very educated. And I believe that he's the best person to teach you guys this new concept where it helps you to not only stand out, but to make great impact and reframe the way how we sell online. It's a very unique approach. And I believe he's going to show you guys, he's going to blow your mind with this concept. So it's basically permission-based marketing where you basically get customers basically begging you to, you know, hand you their cash. So Godson, you ready for us, brother?
Yes, always ready.
All right, man. Let me just allow you to share your screen real quick.
Okay, so I said I wanted us to do a quick icebreaker and tell me one instance where you felt respected or one where you didn't, I mean in a buying experience. So can we look at the chat or can you guys talk?
Yeah, everyone can talk. You can unmute yourself and
Okay.
talk.
Okay. Someone says, when people judge you by your age or appearance and assume you can't afford something. Yeah, that's a common one. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so in order not to waste a lot of time there, I would want to jump right in to the concept we have today. And that's how to use permission-based marketing to sell 100 times more. The objective of this workshop is to help you understand what permission-based marketing is and why it matters. And then you're going to learn actionable strategies that you can implement in your business. And it will help you to build trust and credibility with your audience and to attract and retain loyal customers. Now, this workshop is not just about transforming the way you connect with your audience, the way you sell. It's also about transforming the way you connect with your audience. In the long run, if you adopt this approach to marketing, you will have a very sustainable business and you're going to get long-term results. If you look around you, some of the people who are selling stuff with you or have been in the space in your industry, I don't know what industries you all are in, some of them have fizzled out, and that's because they have this run-of-the-mill kind of mentality when it comes to selling. And that's not the right approach to use if you want to stay really long. And the problem is that traditional marketing is failing. The current idea people have of marketers or any marketing material, maybe even you, is that the marketers are slimy, they are deceptive, they just want to make a quick buck, right? And because of this, there's a trust deficit. And so people become more resistant to sales materials. And as a result, everyone has lower conversion rates. So the thing with traditional marketing is that it leaves people most of the time feeling deceived. It creates this distrust, and that creates barriers in terms of your ability to sell and persuade people. When people have to second guess whether what you're saying is true or not, then there's a problem with your marketing approach, right? So we're going to explore how permission-based marketing can help you to rebuild this trust. So the big question is, what is permission-based marketing? Now, permission-based marketing is the type of marketing where the buyer grants permission to be sold to, okay? And it's like inviting someone into your home instead of barging into theirs. So you say, well, hello, you want to make a friend, and you say, hello, can you, come into my house? Let me, treat you to dinner tonight. As opposed to just going to their house, breaking into their door and trying to force them to connect with you. So that's the difference. When you open the door, it gives you the opportunity to create meaningful conversations with that person. And, meaningful conversations are the way to get sales. So permission-based marketing flips the script that, the regular marketers use. Instead of trying to force a sale, you're just simply inviting the buyer into a dialogue. And that will foster trust and make them more likely to engage with your offer. Now you might be thinking, well, I can scale if I need to have conversations with everyone, but that's not exactly what I mean. So I'm going to show you examples as we progress. But for now, I just want you to have it at the back of your mind that permission-based marketing is inviting the buyer into having a conversation with you. Now, there are three principles that enable permission-based marketing to be this powerful. Now, the first one is transparency. And I mean, you have to be honest about your intentions upfront, and you need to adopt the value-first approach where you solve problems, you educate the prospect, or you inspire them before you attempt to sell them. And that's also fundamental. And then finally, respect. You have to understand and honor the person's time. So you don't waste people's time. You honor their preferences and also their boundaries. To really stand out in terms of marketing, you must lead with that level of honesty and with value. You must be willing to share your intent upfront and then offer something beneficial to them and allow them to decide without pressure and with the opportunity to say no, right? Most people want the sale, and so they try to make it difficult for people to say no, but that's not the way you make it difficult for people to say no. You do it by letting them decide, all right? So what are the benefits of permission-based marketing? I've been using this approach to marketing for many, many years, and I can tell you that it builds trust. You can have zero testimonials, you can have zero clout, and you will still sell and make a ton of money if you understand how to use PB marketing. Now, like I said, it builds trust 100 times more. When you sell using this approach, when you are not trying to use gimmicks, the audience is more open and it reduces their defensiveness towards your presentation or towards your marketing material. So I want you to think about this. If you are trying to sell something to someone, but you say, well, I'm going to try to sell something to you later on, but for now, I think we should just have this conversation. Let's even see how, what you do, if this is going to work for you, and let's consider all the options. Okay, the person is likely going to be more open to you to hearing your sales presentation. And that's what you really want. You want people to listen to your presentation without bias. You want them to listen, knowing that you've told them everything that's about it. Well, I'm not trying to trick you into buying anything. I just want you to hear me out. And when you do that, people become less defensive. And as a result, you're going to earn a ton of goodwill. Think about this. If you have to sell someone and you cannot, bring out images and pictures that are going to force people into getting into a hyper emotional state to take action, then you really need to do some value. You need to give some value. So, for instance, if you cannot come out and say, oh, here's my Rolls Royce, and I'm going to show you how to make money, you need to teach people how to do something that gets them closer to their desired results for them to really want to buy from you. So because you market that way, people can benefit from the resource that you put out, even if they don't buy anything from you. They don't need to take action to benefit from your marketing. And that will earn you a ton of goodwill and loyal advocates. Also, it leads to a higher quality of leads. So the kind of people that come into your funnel, into your system, they become really high quality because the high quality people love to be approached in that manner. So for instance, most of you listening to me now, you're probably likely high quality people. You're the type of person that invests in yourself. You're the type of person that, prioritizes self-development. And that's a high quality person, right? If I ask a question now, I know most of you will agree with me that when you see someone trying to use a gimmick to sell something to you, you can smell that from a mile away. You can tell that this person is not authentic. This person is just trying to get something from me. And so because of that, you become more defensive. But what if the person says, well, I'm going to try to sell something to you, and feel free to say no. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I just want you to hear me out. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy the conversation anyway. Because the person already told you his intention, you're going to listen without bias. And that's the behavior of most high quality people today. So, what are the strategies to implement permission-based marketing? I'm going to give you 4 strategies, but um, they are going to be broad in terms of the way I address the concept, because when I teach, I always like to have people use their creativity. You can box people in when you say, well, this is like an exact roadmap that you need to follow. And then, everyone becomes ahead. But when you give people strategies, people have the opportunity to explore and use it in more creative ways than you could ever imagine. So the first strategy is to lead with value. When you want to market, always ensure that you're giving value. Now, to provide value, what is value to you may not be value to the person you're trying to sell. And that's one big mistake I see people make when they use things like lead magnets or maybe just an informational material. They assume that because they think it's valuable, the person will find it valuable. Now, I should state this. What people see as valuable are things that move them closer to the outcome that they are trying to achieve. So, for instance, most of you here are probably looking to get better results with your marketing. And so, what I'm sharing will become valuable to you because I'm showing you how to get better results. And that's what you always want to do. You have to look out for the end goal and say, okay, what is the end goal this person has? And what kind of information can I give to this person that gets them closer or inspires them to want to get the result? That is the second type of valuable content. So valuable content is not only how to get something done or an education on ways you can do something or strategies. It could also be inspiration. If I make content and say, well, here is how a chiropractor was able to move their practice from $200,000 a year to $2 million a year. And, we're just talking, having an interview. We may not share the exact strategies, but if that content, if that information inspires you as a chiropractor who's struggling, if it inspires you, you will find it valuable because it makes you feel, well, if this other person can do it, even if I don't buy this content, even if I don't buy a course, it tells me that there's the possibility of me also achieving that. All right. And so valuable content is either educational or inspiring, or it could be an educational content that inspires, or it could be an inspiring content that educates. So it goes both ways. They are not mutually exclusive. Now, there are some examples here like free guides, webinars, videos, or emails with rich content, which is one of the mistakes I see people make when they do email marketing. And they just try to sell, 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 while other people are on the other end of the spectrum where they just try to give value, give value, give value. And in both cases, people get bored and then they leave your list. But if you have emails that tell stories that inspire, and you also mix that with educational content, and at the end you make offers, you're going to perform. Your advertising, your marketing is going to perform better. Now, after you've learned with value, you also have to think about permission. Now, this is something that many people take for granted, especially in the industry. And it's because marketers have been used to getting away with slimy marketing, where they say, well, here is how James made $50,000. Here is how this did X, and here's how this did Y. And it's worked. It's been working, and it worked for so long, but not as it used to. So you need to get permission to sell to people. And if you're giving a lead magnet, occasionally you even need to let people know. Like I was selling a $3,000 program one time, I think 2021. And I told people in advance from the ad that they were going to spend some huge amount of money. And in fact, people who didn't have certain amount of money had no business getting into the funnel. Now, that might sound counterintuitive because most people hide behind their prices, they hide behind their offers. And by the time they do that, they end up getting a ton of shitty leads that have no interest in spending money or in investing in their program. So you really need to get permission from people and tell them upfront that you're going to try to sell something to them. And they would listen to you anyway. Most times people feel, well, if I say I'm going to sell something, the person might just run away. No, that it does the direct opposite. In fact, the kind of people you're trying to sell to will be more inclined to pay attention to you. And so if it were a sales call, for instance, you could say, I'd like to share an offer later. Is that okay? I would like us to discuss about this. And I have some useful insights that I think will help you. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share an offer with you at the end. Is that okay? And trust me, 9 out of 10 times the person's going to say yes. And then you've set yourself up to really, do good. And then transparency. I've also talked about that when I mentioned get permission, but it's worth emphasizing that you need to make your intentions clear right from the get-go. You need people to know what you're trying to do when you present your sales material, when they encounter your sales material. And then you need to think long term, okay? I've mentioned this at the start, but I will explain from a different perspective. So when you nurture a prospect, I'm not talking about email nurture sequence. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is ensuring that every time a prospect encounters your marketing materials, they get value from it. Now, I have done this so well that if you read every sales letter I have written for maybe the past 5 years, or any sales material, whether a video, you're going to learn something from it. It might be something you've known that you've forgotten about, or it might be something you never knew about. But the most important thing is that I always want people to leave having gained something from me. And in the long run, most of those people become customers. It may take them 3 years. I have people who buy my programs after 3 years of interacting with different materials that I've put out there. So when I create sales pages, I don't create sales pages with the traditional mindset of trying to get a sale. I create the sales page in a way that positions me as an educator, as someone who's providing something valuable, and then inviting the prospect to say, well, if you want more value, if you want a deeper dive into this concept, then perhaps you should consider taking out your credit card and paying me for it. So every encounter that you have, that people have with your marketing, with your brand, should be designed to be beneficial to them in such a way that they will want to, do business with you. And even if they never buy anything from you, they would always have goodwill, towards you, because you've been spreading goodwill to them for so long. So I've said a lot of theory. I would like us to do to see some case studies and examples. So I do have 4 examples for you. Now, the first one is one of my ads. All my ads use the same approach. If you see my ads, I know I'm not so popular, but if you see my ads, or you might see ads from other brands that look similar to this approach I'm talking about, I just know it's me. Okay, so some of you may have seen this ad, and it says, my best advice for Facebook ads in 2024 in 6 words. Apparently, this ad's still running. And it says, stop narrow targeting, use creative targeting. That's working right now. And I explain all the details on the sales page of my new course. Just beneath that statement, I go ahead to say, well, I'm sure you're going to learn a ton from this, from the information on my sales page, even if you don't buy the course, right? Because I say I'm sure you're going to get a ton of new information than what's in some paid courses. So I want you to check it out and just learn about it. I'm sure it will be eye-opening for you, especially when I talk about creative targeting. And it works. They know it's a sales page. They know it's a course. They know I'm selling something. I'm not hiding behind a wall, right? They can see everything up front that I'm selling a course. And I didn't say landing page. I said sales page. It was intentional. And when they go, what happens? As a result, they buy. And guess what? Most people are inclined to read the entire content because they are looking out to learn. They're not looking out to just, click a link and disappear. The people who click on the link are more intentional. They want to find out what this guy is talking about and how it can benefit them, right? And so they read the entire thing. And guess what? Because I educate and I inspire in the copy, it persuades them to take out their credit cards and buy. In fact, it's so powerful that even though it's a $99 course, I rarely get $99 buyers. Most of the time, people spend $209 just at the front of that sales before we start talking about my upsells. So most people take all the other bumps and buy, right? And that's because am intentional about being transparent, about making sure that people get value in advance. Now, here is another example. And this one, I would like to play the video for you. I already pulled it up. And just to give you some context, Alex Hormozi is promoting a platform called Skool. And Skool is a community building platform. If you join Skool, I'm not saying you, I'm not marketing to you. I mean, if you join Skool, then you can build a community and get people to, subscribe to the community, and then you make money. And so this is Hormozi promoting the community. I want you to watch the video. It will only take a minute so you can see it for yourself. I hope you can all still see my screen. Please do let me know before I start playing.
Yep, you're
Can
good.
you see I'm on Facebook ads library now. Can you see that?
You're good. Yeah, we're seeing it.
Okay.
This is a Cybertruck, and this is $100,000. And someone watching this ad right now is one of these two in the next 30 days. But listen, this is what last month's winners do. And here they are in person with Nicholas got the $50,000 last month. He $38,000. Thomas $35,000. Tion $31,000. Trina $29,000. Kevin $35,000. Eddie $36,000. Elmer $28,000. Ruben $27,000. Emma $81,000. Listen, these are all insane outcomes. What is the average take me right now? $1,360 per month. You're gonna be like, well, shoot, but what about like what if I don't make it? What if it doesn't work? Well, 1 out of 2 people, 54.1% people start Patreon school and get the first dollar on the way.
Okay, so I'm not going to let it play till the end. I want you to observe something. He goes ahead to say that, he mentioned some big amounts, 40,000, 30,000, 20,000, and these are people making this money monthly. But then he goes ahead to say, well, what does the average person make? And that's brilliant because permission-based marketing also involves, like I said, transparency. People need to know everything about what you're doing. At least they have to have the illusion that they know everything. And by mentioning that people will make $1,300 as the average, which is far lower, it increases the level of trust that the market will have towards this ad. And this ad was certainly going to resonate really well with people. Of course, what shows here is I ran from December 3rd to December 6th, but that's not really true because I saw this ad for a long period of time, and maybe some of you did as well. Now he goes ahead to say, well, only 1 out of 2 people make money on school. By being, I don't know if that's true or not, and really I don't care. If by saying that 1 out of 2 people make money, which means someone doesn't make money, he appears to be more truthful, more transparent, and so he's going to have more trust. The next, I want to show you a rather funny case study. This one is permission-based marketing. Like I started, when I started this workshop, I said, it's not just about how you sell, it's about how you interact and connect with your audience. And I'm going to show you a case study of where you use permission-based marketing because it's just a concept. It's beyond ads and it's beyond selling. Okay. Now, this post says, if you sell an expensive product, chunk down the price to have a stronger value effect to get more people buying. Okay. I will show you, I want to show you the post in full so you see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay, perfect. This is the post. All right. Now, throughout the post, I'm selling to one group of persons here. I won't say selling, I'm speaking to someone, and the person sells an expensive product. Okay. And that is the avatar I want to talk to. That's why you see sell an expensive product is one of the first things that comes up here. And then I say, I suggest something to that person. And I say, chunk down the price to have a stronger value effect to get more people buying instantly. So if the person sells a high ticket product and wants to get more buyers, they're going to want to read this post. Okay. And I said, this isn't the same thing as reducing your price. You can go ahead and read the post yourself. But I give a ton of value throughout this piece. And when I get to the bottom, I say, when you put $8.21 side by side with the value of the same offer, that's worth over $3,000, their buying resistance will be severely weakened. This will spark a strong urgency for them to take the offer immediately. Would you like to see this in action? I have 2 sales copy where I do this price chunking really well. Let me know in the comment section and I'll send it to you. Just go and observe how I build up the value of the offer from the top of the copy and later chunk down the price at the bottom. That's a very specific statement. I want the person to read the entire copy. And then I say, you don't have to buy the product. The lesson is in the sales copy, but fair warning, my copy is really persuasive. So hold your credit card in your left hand. Okay, that's just for jokes, right? Now.
That was funny, by the way.
Sorry?
I said that was funny, by the way.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, this post got 134 comments. Okay, so we divide that by 2. We say about 64 people asked me to send them my sales copy, 2 sales copies each. Okay, now it will surprise you to know now these products were $3,000 products. One was $1,000 products. I'm selling on a sales page. Okay, these people, 60. Was that 60? Okay, no, that's 65 and okay, 67. Okay, plus 2. 67 of them, I'm just guessing, I don't know, asked me to send them the copy. And I sent them 2 copies each. I mean, one for one, a product they're selling for $1,000 and another. And mind you, those products are going to be very interesting to people who sell expensive offers. So what happened? They are begging me literally to give them the opportunity to sell something to them because they're asking for my sales pages. And they bought the product. I got people enrolling in those programs just from this simple post. Okay. And the reason they enrolled is because they read the copy with open mind. They were more interested in learning than they were in me trying to sell something to them. I am sure that I could never have convinced those people to go, look at that copy if I was, trying to be slimy and hide behind. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 persons, but to get 64 people interested in reading my materials, that's a big win. I'll take it any day because it's a free post. I didn't promote it. I didn't run ads. That's just a post. And I have literally many of them because I do it a lot. And people are coming to ask me to send them my sales pages or ask me to send them information. But the most important thing is that when they interact with the copy, they learn from it and they trust me better. And what happens? They'll buy more from me in the future. Now I'll show you a final example for the day, which is a sales letter for a private community I was building that also did really well. I haven't really started promoting it full force. So it's a small community I started last month. And I would show you the copy so you can see it. Now, I want you to take note of the headline of this sales page. Right. First, it doesn't look like a sales page, it looks like an article, but it says, I want to sell you on joining a business and marketing community. But first, let me share something you probably don't already know, but don't do. Now, this just piques curiosity. It's just a hook. But I've been upfront. I've told them that I'm going to sell something to them, but I've said, wait, before I start doing my selling, let's talk about something I think you know that you don't do. And I begin to ask questions, why do people pay for masterminds and all that? And I build up the case and eventually sell to them, right? So this is also a very good example of how you can use PB marketing, on sales pages. Let people know that you're trying to sell something to them. You don't have to hide, but make sure that your material is good enough to educate them. If you go through this copy, I'm educating. I'm doing education throughout, except for where I tell a little story that blends in with my education, right? And then at the end of the day, I tell them, I want to ask you a very serious question, and your answer will show why you're where you are right now. Here you go. When you have serious marketing or business questions, who do you ask? Your answer right now might sound like I check on Google, YouTube, my girlfriend, boyfriend who knows nothing about business, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to play big, and of course you won't be reading this otherwise, then you need to change that answer. The better your answer looks, the bigger your business will be, the more money you will make, and the bigger the impact you can have on the lives of people around you. Free advice can only take you so far. So now I am selling something. You need paid advice that's accessible on demand to excel. And I go ahead and I build up a case, the normal copywriting stuff, and I sell. But what I want you to take from that is that you can be upfront about selling to people and still sell. In fact, it helps you sell 100 times more. In fact, the ease with which you sell will surprise you. So with that said, I want us to do a quick activity, which is to create a strategy for a PB campaign. Now, here's what you're going to do. I want you to define your audience and their pain points. So you see where I created a post and said, well, if you sell expensive products, do XYZ to get better results, right? So what is the audience you're trying to reach? Which audience? Are you trying to reach people who sell products online? Are you trying to reach people who play basketball? Are you trying to reach people who do whatever? It doesn't matter. Now, I want you to figure out what their pain points are. So for instance, people who want to sell expensive products online, one of the problems they have is resistance. People, when you say, well, what I sell is $20,000 per month, and the person says, oh, wait, pedal back a second. I don't have $20,000. Even if they do have it, right? They have that resistance to high price points. And so I know that's a big problem because I sell high ticket stuff. And so I know that people have that buying resistance. And so I say, well, I'll show you how to get rid of that. So once you've identified the audience you want to reach and the pain points, the next thing you're going to do is to develop a value-driven marketing strategy. So you can see I paired my audience with a pain point they have and provided a simple solution for them. And that becomes a marketing strategy. Okay. And when you have that strategy in mind, okay, I'm going to pair this audience with this pain point, you can now develop a transparent and respectful sales message that gets people buying. So I would give you 2 minutes because I'm almost out of time to do that, and then we'll come back and continue with what we're doing. So let's do that in 2 minutes, and I want to see the chat moving with activity. Maybe because we don't have enough time, you can just tell me the audience and one major pain point. I'm looking at it, in the chat. What is the audience you want to reach and what are their pain points?
All right, guys, so don't be shy. Feel free to drop it in the chat. If it is that you sell a product or service, you should know the pain point that you're solving. So if it is that you know it, feel free to drop it in the chat right now, right? And let's let us know. By the way, awesome stuff so far, Godson. Like, awesome stuff. Pretty cool.
Thank you. So I'm waiting for the chat. Well, I wouldn't wait for too long.
Yeah.
It's helpful when you share. I might be able to point you in the right direction, right?
This is way more effective than getting a pre-recorded session. The thing is that you get the interactive vibe, someone to speak with you and all that type of stuff. So feel free to use it up as much as possible. All right. Let me see if I can pick on anybody.
Corporate employees looking to further their career, but lacking the communication skills to speak up when it's important. That's a good one. Okay. I'm looking out for more.
There's another one from Kamlesh.
Okay, I see that. Recruiters of life insurance advisors. Okay. Yeah, nobody's interested. And so you could have a post that says, here is how to find life insurance advisors, even though no one's interested in becoming one. You can have a post that speaks to that particular person and their pain point. If you pair that together, you can build up a post and give out something that's valuable. Let the person know and say, I learned something from this. And then you can use that to sell the person on whatever strategy you have. It could be maybe you chat with people and sell them, or you send them to a sales page. It doesn't matter. Funnel design and copywriting. Okay, service-based solopreneurs. Okay, they want to get quality leads and paying clients. Yeah, you could, of course, you can already see that from the audience you've described and the pain point you've mentioned, you can easily craft a post. It could be an organic post that's helpful to the person. It could be a sales page. I do PB marketing on my sales pages. You can use it on sales calls. You can use it even while interacting with your family, right? So it's a mindset. Working professionals struggling with body pains and stressful life situations. Okay, wanting to get freedom, that moved. Wanting to get freedom from lifelong medicines. Interesting. Yeah. I would start such a post by saying, something like, well, we are pumped full, like a stat-based hook. The average adult, when he turns 50, depending on the age I'm trying to reach, the average male, let's assume I'm trying to reach males, the average males by the time they get to 50 has been pumped full with 10,000 gallons of poisonous medicines. Right, such a jarring headline. I'm just assuming I pulled that out of the air. I'm not sure, that's real, but you are in the niche, so you'll know better from your industry knowledge. Businesses that employ discounts to drive more sales. The pain points, chunk of money spent on promotions of the deal, limited reach. These are good ones. Solution, the mobile app that aggregates discounts and deals globally. Okay, so this is a SaaS business. Okay, no, my aim, business is to sign up. Okay, yeah, SaaS business. SaaS application where they build their deal campaigns. Okay, that's your aim. Okay, so one of the things that you can do for, let me see, Ola Obawale. Ola Obawale. I don't know if I got that correctly. Ola Obawale, okay? So one of the things you can do, Ola, is to, I wouldn't want to speak to this because I don't have enough information, but if we had the opportunity for you to explain your situation, I would give you a better idea on how you can leverage PB marketing, right? But just know that it's all about educating people and inspiring people. And if you do that, you get better results. All right. So Ren says online creators execute goals, helping online creators execute goals, moving from having goals to executing them. Okay, like a productivity hack. I'll give you the headline one of my clients is using, like the idea behind his PB marketing campaign. He's in productivity as well. It's I think it's how to enhance your focus by embracing your distractions. A very interesting title and very interesting copy. So, you can play around with PB marketing, talk about the problems. Let me read a sample of something that you can use. Hold on, I'm coming. Productivity, because productivity is something I'm really interested in. So I'll read something for you, something I wrote. Okay, I wrote this. I said, we all know the things we should be doing to succeed. The problem is that we don't do them. The bigger issue is that if we want to, but for some reason we can't. That reason is habit. First, we make our habits. I'm quoting someone, then our habits make us. The simple fact is that you are the summation of your habits. If you want to live a happy and fulfilling life, you must break some of your current habits and form new ones. If you want to increase your income, you must stop habits that support consuming and become a producer. But stopping old habits or forming new ones isn't an easy thing to do because habits are hardwired parts in our brains. Now I've switched to education. Each time you perform the habit, you burn that part deeper. I know you have habits you want to break, and you also want to start doing other things more beneficial to your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be reading this right here, which is why I want to share my little secret for forming and breaking habits. Now, imagine being able to start and stop habits at your will. Imagine being free from those habits that has plagued you, or doing the things that matter in your life. How much more happy would you be? This could resolve ongoing and recurrent marital problems. This could help you connect better with your children. This could help you impress your boss, get a promotion, and excel in your career. This skill, the skill to form habits, will help you become anything you desire. How powerful is that? And then you go ahead to lead into your course. I wrote that for a course I've never built. I just never had the time to do it. But that's how you lead people. That's a sales letter, actually. I know it sounds like I'm educating or like a social media post, but that's like a sales letter. I'm going to lead in and start selling. So you see that all through from the start of the copy down all the way. I'm not selling anything. I'm just educating people about the problem they have and, the solutions. Some of them will learn that each time you perform the wrong habit, it's hardwired to your brain. And this approach to marketing is so powerful, I'll tell you, that when people read my copy, sometimes if they don't buy, they have sleepless nights thinking about the copy. Like, oh yeah, that's true. That would be my problem. Okay. And this should be the solution. Okay. So imagine someone reading this and the person, each time he does that bad habit, because I said each time you do it, it's hardwired to your brain. Each time they do it, they remember me. Say, oh, I better get that program and learn how to stop this bad habit. So that's how you use PB marketing to influence people and get them to do your bidding. So here are the key takeaways that you should, serenade your mind with after today's session. Is that the first one is permission-based marketing builds trust and loyalty. And the next one is transparency and value are non-negotiable. Take note. Number one, always be transparent. Let people see through you. That way you look authentic, you look believable, and they trust you more. And then value, make sure that when people interact with your sales material, they learn something from it. They enjoy it. It inspires them or educates them. And then also remember that the audience is in control. People, when they read your copy or they watch your webinar or interact with you, you can't force them to do anything, no matter how hard you try. The only way to get someone to do something is to make them want to do it. And so the audience is in control, and it's a good thing. All you have to do is to figure out how to make them want to do that thing you want them to do. And that will make you more powerful as a marketer, believing that the audience is in control, and then figuring out how to make them want to do that thing you want them to do. And also focus on relationship, not just sales. So don't just try to get a sale. Sometimes I tell people not to buy my products. If you chat with me and you tell me, I say, well, you don't need this, just do this and we'll solve your problem. Now you may think, well, this guy's stupid. He just lost some money. But in the long run, I'll win, because that's how it works. It's not just sales, not just money. It goes beyond that. Build relationship. When people read your materials, encounter your marketing videos, ads, whatever, doesn't matter. It should draw them closer to you, closer to the solutions that they are seeking, and whether or not they buy from you or not. And then remember that no today could mean yes tomorrow. So no today doesn't mean no permanently. It could mean yes tomorrow. So don't get, disturbed that people didn't take action today, because tomorrow they'll take action. So have that at the back of your mind and use that to craft your sales materials, that I want this person to get sufficient value from me that I'll be memorable to them, and they will always want to take action and buy something from me. I thank you very much for watching this presentation and for sticking through with me till the end. And I have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to take any questions or any feedbacks from anyone.
All right, guys, so question time. Any question you have, feel free to drop it in the comment section and in the chat, and let us hear it.
Temstar, I think someone was asking if there will be a replay of this meeting.
So the link is going to be, I'm going to send it in the chat once everything's done, but it's elitetrafficcircle.com/live/replay. You can get it there. So this concept is pretty cool. So the first time I got introduced to this was from Frank Kern. This advertisement, I think it was probably 4 years ago. He started his advertisement by saying, hey, this is an ad. And in this ad, I'm going to do two things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Something. Yeah. So that advertisement was the first type of advertisement. So I was like, this is a very cool concept. And the truth is, selling is really easy. And today we see the market shifting. Back then you needed fancy designs and all these strategies. Now, simple sale pages, right? Even most of my sale pages, they're very simple. I consider them as mini articles. So when someone goes on my website, my funnel, right, they can read and they can be inspired. They can get a few aha. The more aha you get, then it's easier to convert. And this way, it's the easiest way to help someone by just helping them, right? The easiest way to show someone that you can help them is by actually helping them. And once you can do this on your sale page, the friction becomes way less. Very cool approach, very effective strategy. And if you guys try this out, even when you embed it into your micro webinar, that section where it says value bomb, that is the purpose of that part, for you to invite people by simply helping them, right? Showing them that you can help them. And then once you give them that aha, this friction becomes less. So when you hit that section that says permission to buy, so you have, is it okay for me to share with you something that I've created to help you to implement XYZ? It becomes very easy for you to sell them because you have already displayed value. You don't need to show them a million testimonials. You don't need to show them the Rolls Royce, as my friend said, all of these stuff. The friction becomes less, way less. Selling becomes easy, very easy. So I believe right now we're living in a time where it's probably the easiest time because everyone is out there doing the slimy stuff. And right now, all it takes is just authenticity, transparency, right? And value.
Yeah.
And if you can't provide these things, then you shouldn't be selling. That's the truth. If you can't help someone, why are you selling? like if you have nothing to offer, folks, you really shouldn't be selling. And I believe that everyone here is an expert in their own field and they know how to do their stuff, right? So feel free to implement these strategies. Any questions? We don't have any questions right now. Awesome stuff. Thanks again, man. So we'll connect.